Hey, welcome back to Songs and Stories from an Animated Mind. I'm Steve Belfer. Today's story is called The Cereal King. Who is the Cereal King, you might ask? It's not me, although I was there and I can tell you all about it. Back in the early 2000s, I was working at Warner Brothers Online. I was directing animation and interactive projects for the web, and one of our clients was Post Cereal. You know, Post Cereal is the owner of Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles, and they had this website called Postopia that licensed the Flintstones characters. Remember the Flintstones? Yabba Dabba Doo? Anyway, one day we're sitting in a meeting and we're talking about this Flintstones project called Bedrock Superstar. You know how American Idol has people singing? Well, this was basically the Flintstones version of that. Fred, Barney, Wilma, Pebbles, everybody is competing as singers. So we're talking about the project, and I kind of jokingly say, hey, is there any chance you guys could send us some free cereal for the animators? And everybody laughs, and my manager gives me kind of a funny look. Meeting's over. We all forget about it. About a week later, a delivery truck pulls up. Not one box, not two boxes, 5 giant crates of Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles are delivered to the middle of our animation department. Suddenly, it looks like the cereal aisle at the grocery store. Apparently, somebody at Post had taken me seriously, and naturally, we just started eating. So we gave every animator like 3 or 4 or 5 boxes of cereal. We ate it. We compared cereal. We talked about cereal. And we eventually donated most of it to a food bank because there was just simply too much cereal for one office. We felt a little guilty of having this much cereal. So we kept the empty boxes and we lined them up across this one wall. We made a grid, and it looked like a pop art Andy Warhol installation. It was this huge grid of cereal boxes covering an entire wall. Around this time, my friend James and I get into a little bit of an argument. He claimed he could tell the difference between all the different chocolate cereals, like Cocoa Krispies, Cocoa Puffs, the generic store brand version. And I'm like, there's no way. Being artists and animators with a lot of imagination, we decided to settle it scientifically. Now, Warner Brothers Online was a couple of floors of cubicles, and there was marketing and strategy and technology and legal. There were all these different departments, and I was heading up this little area, which was the animation zone. And sometimes in this place, which we call a cubicle farm, they would have a sort of team building event. Like one time somebody was pushing a little cart with make your own ice cream sundaes and some music, and it was to try and boost the spirits a little bit. Probably right after a bunch of people got laid off, okay? But anyway, there's a history of these team building events. So I thought, well, let's do a sort of a team building event, and we'll have a cereal contest. So we set up tables, we made blindfolds, and we had festive music. And we had these little tasting stations with numbered bowls. I think there was bowl A, B, and C. It was like a double-blind test. So people, including James, I'm not sure who else did it. Ryan, Jen, a bunch of people, they would sit down, blindfolded, and they would identify which cereal they were eating. Was it Cocoa Krispies? Was it Cocoa Puffs? Was it the generic Cocoa cereal? It was hilarious because everybody in the office got into it, and people were cheering, and when one of the contestants would taste the cereal, they would kind of debate the cereal's texture, and they would take it very seriously, way too seriously. And then I remember I looked over at my manager, and he had this expression on his face, kind of like, this is funny, but why aren't you guys working? There was always this little battle between management and the animation crew. I was always very conscious of schedules and budgets and deadlines, and we had enough time to do this. And if you have a little fun, I think you work better. You do better work. And I think your clients are happier too. We have this contest. James, I think, came out victorious. Not only did he guess correctly which was the post Cocoa Pebbles, but he also identified which one was the Cocoa Krispies and which was the Cocoa Puffs and which was the generic cocoa cereal. So he became the Cereal King. And what prize did the Cereal King get? They got a hat that was made out of cereal boxes. It looked like a giant cereal box crown. And he wore it, and, for that afternoon, it carried a little bit of respect. A little about the Flintstones project. The Flintstones characters, Fred, Barney, Wilma, Betty, Pebbles, and Bam Bam, maybe Dino, I don't know. They were all in this sort of Bedrock Superstar contest, and we had to animate each of them singing a song. And then people would go online and they'd vote at who the winner is. And there were brackets and the winner would come out ahead. Of course, we didn't have a very big budget to get actual songs that we could use, like popular songs. So I came up with this idea, well, let's take a public domain song, like On Top of Old Smoky, or, On Top of Spaghetti. We'll have Fred sing it like Frank Sinatra. Or we'll have Barney Rubble sing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, like in a country western style. Or Wilma would sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in a soulful Mariah Carey style. Something like that. It was pretty fun. We animated the characters. We got the gig because we were doing all these episodic Flash cartoons. And we had a team, and we wanted to keep the team busy. I think that post-Serial came to us because Warner Brothers owned the rights to Hanna-Barbera stuff, like the Flintstones and Wally Gator and Snagglepuss. When they wanted internet animation with those characters, they came to us. We had fun with it. We did a good job, and we delivered all the animation, and Postopia.com was created, and I think the contest works. I don't remember who the winner was of the Flintstones characters, but I do remember that James became the Cereal King. Thanks for listening to Songs and Stories from an Animated Mind. See you next time.